In this video, we're going to look at what we did as far as the flooring in our project. Before we did that, I've kind of laid out everything before we look at the finished product of what all was involved as far as removing the existing. As you can see, this RV had just standard blue carpets, like a low shag or just a medium shag blue residential carpet. Throughout, this was in the entire RV, including all the way up through the cab. Of course, we'll discuss the cab flooring when we look at the cab in its entirety later. One thing to note about this carpet, which was a surprise to me, is that the carpet in the RV is not put in one piece. It's actually a patchwork of carpets. This particular RV probably had maybe 8 or 9 different patches. Now, where that becomes a problem is everything is stapled. As you can see right here, as if we look, if you can see them, right there's a staple. Of course, there's a staple right there. They staple the perimeter of the carpet. So, of course, if it was one big, large carpet, you would only have to deal with the perimeter. Now, as it being 8 or 9 different pieces of carpet, each piece of carpet is stapled, rolled over and stapled along this perimeter. So that means for lots and lots of staples to pull up. Now, if this is a great project, makes your RV look great, but I gotta be honest with you, if you're not willing to spend a lot of time on the floor, it's a very difficult project just from the aspect of what you have to do with these staples. You do want to be sure and have a great set of knee pads because you're going to spend a lot of time on your knees. Now, what I've got here is just some samples of it. So basically, these are it, just narrow crown staples that you see. They're using basically a lot of construction work. That's what the carpet is put in with. Again, it's folded over. You can look, if you look right in there, you can see a staple that's through. So what it is you basically grab this carpet, you just peel it back and hope most of the staples come up with the carpet. In this case, some did. You can see I can reach down in here. You'll see right there's a staple I just pulled out. So a lot of them do come with it. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't come with it. So what you end up with, and I just kind of made a little sample board here that you can see. If you look, that square block, there's just a crown staple. And so when you go around, the floor's got hundreds of these. So what I used was a little tool that I found. It's right here, and it's just a pair of just plain nippers that I found somewhere. That really worked well in this case. You could use pliers or anything. This really worked in the fact that all you had to do is just put it on there, rock it over, and as you can see, the staple comes right out. So you do that a few thousand times. As a matter of fact, when I had been over this floor dozens of times and actually installing the flooring, I'm going in, I was still finding staples. So big pain right there. The second problem is underneath this carpet they put a padding, real thin chop foam padding, just like you see in a lot of residential stuff. And what they use is a slap stapler, if you've ever seen it. You just like a hammer that staples. And the problem you had is when it's not glued down, but when you pull, like this was the, of course you already removed the carpeting, like this was the padding, I didn't have any left. You pull that back. What happens is, if you can see inside this square, you leave a staple and you leave a little tuck of foam. See, I've demonstrated that. You can see that. Sorry for the camera work. I'm having to work and do camera at the same time. You leave a little tuft of foam. Now, this is a standard T50 staple. The problem with the staples in this RV is they use these just micro, like wire staples. And I mean, they are difficult, but they have to come up because there's these little knots like this all over the floor. All you could do in the process is just get under it with a screwdriver and pop it out. Now, fortunately, in that particular scenario, it was a lot easier to do. In the floor, they are in there. Those little staples are really in there. And boy, that was the most difficult part. Getting these little foam nodules up was the absolute most difficult part. Fortunately, they didn't do 1,000,000 of those. Just 1,000 of them, but they were a pain. Of course, now, some of these staples were just buried too deep. You couldn't get this under them. You couldn't get a screwdriver. If you couldn't do that, then you just resorted to your trusty hammer and pulled them up. I tried to remove as many as I could. You could have went around and just hammered them all in the floor. Probably would have worked just as well. I just decided to go the pull-up method, so it's your choice. So that's what it takes to get the carpet out. And boy, that is a lot of work. Several days worth of work to remove it. Now, what did we go back with? I did some research on the internet. You see this quite a bit. This is standard Allure flooring. Most people get it from Home Depot or a lot of places. This is vinyl flooring. You can see if I can get a good picture of it. It has a pretty good thickness to it. 25 warranty on it. Back out a little bit. And it comes in plank like this. This is a 3-foot plank. This plank has been trimmed. I used a piece of it. This is just a scrap piece. They're exactly 6 inches wide. And then they have a glue strip right down through here. This paper just covers the glue. So if I pull it back, you can see it there. See, that's a sticky glue strip. So what you do is you peel this back, you take your next board, and then you glue it right into there, and then press it down. What a lot of people like about this flooring is, number one, is that it's free floating. You don't actually glue it to the floor. Number two, it's very durable. And number three is the thickness. You notice that's probably 1/8 of an inch thick ballpark, as opposed to using laminate, which is much, much thicker. Would not have worked in this project because the cabinet drawers and several other factors would just not allow me to use a real thick piece of laminate flooring and trim it out. It's very easy to work with. All you have to do is you just take a razor knife, which is what I have right here. You take it and you just score it right down through here. Of course, I've pre-scored it because I'm having to work one-handed here. And then after you score it, you just take it and you just break it off. Just that simple. That's the back side of it. Nothing to it. Another great thing about this product in installing it, I had a little 2x2 piece of plywood that I could lay in on the floor, and I could actually cut this product right inside the RV. Of course, with laminate, you've got to have a table saw. You're going to have to move outside every time you need to make a cut it to the table saw and bring it back in. Nice thing about this is you can do a lot of it right inside the RV. So this is a great product. This runs at me, I think I paid about $1.50 a foot for it, which was about $38, $39 a box. For my 29-foot Tioga, it took 6 boxes to do. So relatively inexpensive. I laid this floor in about 7 hours. Just the actual floor laying, not including the trim, and obviously not including all the work that went to tear the carpet out. Tearing the carpet and staples out, I would estimate anywhere 15, 18 hours. It was extremely, extremely, extremely laborious work, all on your hands and knees, and there's really no simple way to do it in that. Another product that I want to look at that I used, that you'll see inside the stairwell, is when I redid the stairwell, is this product here. This is just a standard indoor-outdoor carpet that I got at Home Depot. The inside one, this is the part where I did some of the bends. It's gray. The ones on the inside's a dark blue. But it's great. This is meant to actually be glued down like on a patio. So it's very low pile. It's very pliable when you're trying to glue it into shape like you're going to put into the stairwell. And then it has great durability. So that's a great product. This runs 45 cents a foot. So this was relatively inexpensive and came in a lot of handy places. Another thing I used right here is just standard. This is for the stair as well. This is just standard aluminum stair molding. Comes from Home Depot or Lowe's. You can see I had tape on it because it's where I cut it. I used a chop saw to get the 45 degree angle on it. And so it's to keep from scratching it all up, I just wrapped it in tape. This was a little bit tricky. Of course, anytime you're doing an inside cut, you know, the measurements have got to be pretty precise, and then it just went down with stainless steel screws. We'll look at the finished product of that later. So that was used, and also between the cab, where the floor is raised between the cab and the coach itself, there's a strip across there. On the molding side, I used just real oak. Anytime I replaced wood, which I had to build some shelves, several things, and all the molding, I tried to go back with real wood. Of course, in a 97 RV, you can imagine there's a lot of not real wood in it. Everything's pretty well particle board with, and you know, if it is what it is. But when I put stuff back in, I went the real oak. This is just standard red oak molding from Home Depot, shoe molding. See it right there. stained and urethane. Now what I did was, when I put it down is, I used this product here. And this is indoor-outdoor carpet tape. And what it is, it's actually a mesh. I didn't open it. I was going to open it. It's just a glue-impregnated mesh, very thin. And so I cut it into strips, and along the back side here, against the wall, and then the floor side here, I applied this tape. Of course, it's double-sided. I applied this tape so that when I fastened it to the floor, against the wall like that, it, you know, is like gluing it in without having to use glue. So it just stuck to the floor, stuck to the wall, and then I went back in with a pneumatic stapler gun and added a few staples. So mechanically fastened it and chemically fastened it with the glue. This stuff is real cheap. You can pick it up $3-4 a roll, and I did the whole RV on one roll. Thought there being was that if the mechanical fails by being worked loose, then you've got the glued as well. So that's what's trimmed out the whole inside of the RV with the flooring. And so that's all the products that I used. Again, it's a very simple process, short of removing the carpet, which again was not for the faint of hearted. So in our next video, what we're going to do is we're going to begin, and we'll go into the RV and we'll look at the finished product and talk about how it looks and some of the aspects of it now that it's down on the floor. So see you in the next video.